Cover the doorway as they start to defuse. Pengu goes for one on the Young. Can he go the second?
Mid, what are you doing? What just happened? Why are you sprinting, Bio?
Hungry. He gets the entry!
Oh, he's Moringa, are you ready for this?
Oh!
Yes! Pengu, are you kidding me?
Why am I so much better than you? God damn!
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of SiegeGG Live, and apparently I cannot be seen. But David's here, he can be seen. Hello David. How are you? It's been a brutal 3 days.
Yeah, brutal 3 days. I caught a cold. I have a sore throat, so yeah, let's see how these next 3 days go. Luckily Thursdays a more chill day, but yeah.
The things we do for Rainbow Six Siege, huh?
Yeah.
Oh well. Well, we are here, we are live, we are discussing the past 3 days of group stages, and we also are going to we are going to address the elephant in the room, which is that bracket. I know it got a lot of people angry, but before we talk about the bracket, we have to talk about the group stage, because if we start talking about the bracket right away, then there's no point talking about the group stage. So yeah, context and like and everything of that sort. So let's jump right in. So on your screen here, we're gonna give you the visual aid. This is how the group stage was, and this positioning is exactly. I edited the official picture for you guys. It's janky, but it does the job. You can see the ones with Q are the ones who have qualified to the playoffs, and everyone's arranged from first position to last position in their group. David, I think we got all of the predictions correct. I think like just positioning was going to be I think my predictions were exactly the same. We were thinking Sonics, Black Dragons, Liquid, TSM, in that order for A and B, and for C as well. We were thinking W7M, BDS, I think, and then I think the only difference that we really had was Group D, where we thought FaZe would be first and Wolves would be second. But it just didn't work out that way. FaZe have been a lot weaker than expected, and Wolves have been, every single one of them have been on having super form. Shinka is just like a clutch god. But let's start talking about Group A, David, and Group A. It was a little bit dicey for both Sonics and Black Dragons to kick things off, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that Group A went a little bit as more or less everyone expected. It was we saw M&M, Cyclops, and Black Dragons in very, they were disputing lots of the games. We have seen lots of 7-5s. We have seen a bunch of overtimes.
2 overtimes with CAG on the first day.
Yeah. Things were not too one-sided, which is always something good. And I think that we have to talk about the Sonics, because I know that Black Dragon, Cyclops, and M&M are not the most fiercest position you can find in an international competition, but seeing the Sonics doing so well in the group stage, winning 5 of the 6 games, they are never one of the favorites, and they put some numbers that only the favorites like Liquid or W7M have put. So I think that they are gonna play TSM, so maybe we see them in the semifinals, which would be their best international result.
Yeah, well, I think we were shocked a little bit with their opening match for Sonics 7-3. They got smashed by M&M. Sure. It was, I think, particularly scary for Sonics because it was on Chalet. It's a map that they kind of prefer, right, David? They have historically preferred it. They kind of foolishly played it twice against CAG earlier in the year. It didn't really go as well as they would have hoped, but I think they made it to the top 6 at SI back then. But I think at this point we can say that like they have some work to be done in Chile. The same day they played Chile again, they beat 7-5 Black Dragons, who had themselves only beaten CHG 8-6. And I think that was their only chalet play. So like they played it on day one. They're like, okay, well, that just let's not really try and play chalet that much. We'll see how that works out for them in the playoffs, though. As far as that goes, I think Sonics have looked really good. They just needed like some time to fix things. The thing that we talked about pre-event with Grixer was the whole thing about like they had to learn how to lose, and that's I think what they did really well. They started off with a loss. With the moment I saw the loss, I was like, well, this is your opportunity to learn how you lose against international opposition when this is like for real. It's happening, and I think they responded superbly after that. They didn't lose any game. They didn't drop any points after that opener. So very strong end after that first, very strong second half of day one, and then day two, day three from Sonics. I think that's all we have to say really for Sonics. They have performed up to expectations in a group with CAG, M&M, BD. BD, on the other hand, I like what I saw from BD. They were obviously a bit sketchy against CAG in that first game, but that was the first game of the major, and it's up against CAG, a team that even team one.
Cannot expect, like you don't know
Yeah,
what to expect.
exactly. You can't really be ready for it until you play them. Even Sonics have struggled, as I said, earlier on. They know, like, once you play them, you can figure it out. But like before that, it's kind of like, oh shit, what's happening? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a unique experience.
Yeah, but after that, similar to Sonics, obviously Sonics beat them in the second match, but like they looked good after that. Sonics were definitely better than them, but BD got the wins twice against M&M. They lost against CAG, which really got them into trouble, but thankfully they didn't lose too badly, so they eventually finished that group stage with a round differential of 0. Luckily for them, CAG's round differential was worse because CAG got too many losses on their side. They lost 4-7 to Sonics, and they lost again to Sonics 7-4 on the final day. They had to make that win happen. Sonics didn't need that win. Yeah. Dude, I think the last game. Yeah, so like I think at this point we might as well talk about Cyclops because like Black Dragons, they were better than the bad teams, so we don't really know how they're gonna like shape up in the playoffs yet. I think early playoff discussion,
don't expect much.
But like Cyclops, they started off. It was a do or die situation for them in the final game. Gio was sick in that final game against Sonics, and Sonics had nothing really to play for. In fact, they had all incentive to not try because they knew that even if BD won, BD would be on 8 points maximum. Sonics were on 12. They had won the group. So they went to Oregon. It's a map that CAG are very practiced on in APAC North, as well as in Japan League. The second or third round, or was it even the first round, they had like 4v1 advantage that they just choked away to Rexin. Or something like that. No, it was a 1v2, I think, that Rexin got the plant off, and Blackray it was, I think, was so scared to push him, even though the timer was like almost certainly going to run out, and Blackray took so long, and he just lost that situation. Like, and just countless rounds that we've seen. I think we also had Dev Marta in one of the Villa games, where we had with Cyclops. He was just like, what was it? What was the Villa game? It was against. I'm not sure. It was not Villa. I remember I clipped that because I was tweeting Bank, it out, right? Maybe? And yeah, it might have been Bank because like Dev Marta was like, that's it. Oh yeah, it was that Rexin 1v2 clutch. Dev was like, yeah, this is one. CAG have done all they can. Sonics have lost this round, and it's a really good round from CAG. And I'm like, yeah, but like you look at the way that Blackray is playing, you could feel the choke was coming on, and it did. So it's no surprise that CAG are not making it to the playoffs, although this is the second closest they have ever gotten to making it to the playoffs, David, after the Mexico Major last year.
After the Mexico Major, yeah.
You
cannot get
talked
any closer, honestly.
Truly, yeah, the Mexico was nuts. They need one round. We talked about saw CIG in the pre-match. Remember on what, Thursday, Friday it was
Mhm.
last Thursday, Friday, something like that. We said like if CIG don't make it out of this group, then there's no hope for CIG ever. I think yeah, this roster has to change at this point. You have to make changes. They said that they're gonna make changes, but Davi, what do you think is like? What's the case?
With Sonics.
Yeah, no, it's on. It's with Cyclops.
So,
Sorry,
with
we said
Cyclops.
like if Cyclops don't make it
Um,
out of this group, it's this is it.
I
There's
don't
no
think
way.
they are
This is the
gonna make
easiest group that they
changes
can
after
get.
this.
Really,
I don't think they are gonna get changes. No, no. Maybe they try to
they
get some of
said they
the
would look at
reject or
changes. Yeah,
they said. I don't know. I guess they could try to get one of the Scars players or the reject players for sure. Japan is a very big scene where we have seen some players doing very well recently in the Japan League, especially. There's a big investment there, so I'm sure that with the years, maybe they can get a winning team. Um, Right now, getting someone else, I guess that is a difficult move, but I'm sure that they can get someone else. Are they going to? Well, I think that their major hasn't been bad at all. Um, and they just lost because of some their mental for sure, like um choking the rounds against Eminem in their first game, like the 6-8. That I think that Cyclops, they were 5-1 ahead after halftime. Well, the first half. Um, they were like against BD. They also lost when they could have won. So I think that they
yeah. There
have
was
proven
six,
like
eight.
they have proven some improvement. But
Yeah,
yeah, those two initial overtime losses,
just
this could
one of
have been
them.
like victories.
They need a
Yeah,
one
just one
point.
of
That
them would
BD
have
game
made
should
the,
have been a
the
win.
difference. Yeah.
They had match
Yeah.
point
Well, the
first in
VD
that
and the
one.
Eminem, like the
Did they have
Eminem, they
match point
were
in the
five
Eminem
one
first?
ahead.
Yeah, but like, okay, yeah, but that's like, they didn't have match point
Mm,
at least. It was like literally again like one round, right? Same as Mexico Major. So no, the
yeah.
thing is, what complicates matters for CAG right now is that they qualified yesterday to the Six Invitational after results kind of went their way.
Yeah.
So the dilemma now becomes they have time. They don't need to, rush a change, or they don't need to stick with this roster for open
Yeah, they
qualifiers
don't have
for
to.
SI. So then like the dilemma for
Exactly.
them, I think, becomes like, do we use this extra month that we have
Mhm.
to practice with a new signing,
Practice
or multiple new signings, perhaps two of them, or do
could
we
have.
try and consolidate? I think at this point you gotta pull the trigger, right? Because you've been consolidating this roster for 3 years. They
I
should
think they are
change. I
going to
think.
have a last. I think they are going to have a last dance in SI and then
I think that's dumb.
change some players like. Yeah, I also think that's dumb, but I think
Yeah.
that I don't know. For the last years, we have seen a very conformistic Cyclops, where doing well in Japan, getting a lot of money, while also qualifying for international events has been enough for them. So I don't see a reason to change players now with just one competition left in the season.
Mm.
I think that they are going to try do well in SI, get the money, and then decide. Maybe there are some contracts expiring in other teams. They don't have to pull the trigger on buyouts, which would save them money. I don't know. It's a bit complicated. I think that they are gonna wait, honestly.
Yeah. Um. Hope is low for
Is it
Cyclops,
a
I
smart
think.
decision? I don't think
Sorry,
so.
what? Yeah,
Hope
yeah.
is low, yeah. Do I think it's
But
the right decision? No, I don't think so.
yeah. Anyways, we've talked about one disappointment at length. I think it's time to talk about the other disappointment. It was such a bright start for Eminem. They beat Sonics in dominant fashion in the 10 a.m. game as well. Then they take CAG down
Yeah.
after making that big comeback. The whole, the words were echoing in our head. We never give up. We talked to Solotov.
Uh-huh.
Even when they were down at 3-6, they felt like they had the confidence to bring it back, and they did. But oh goodness, man, like they had an APAC major. You start off well on day
Yeah.
one, and you just absolutely crumble. After that, they didn't get more than okay. They got a 5 rounds. They lost to Sonic 7-5, but like after they lost 7-4 to BD, 7-3 to CAG, 7-2 to BD again, and then the only close game was 7-5 Sonics.
I'm very disappointed with M&M's performance. They did very well in the first day, and then they just vanished. I
Yeah.
don't know what's the reason behind it. Some of the results were not that one-sided. Like they lost 4-7 against BD, 7-5 against Sonics. Solotov was performing very well, but Jesus was doing well as well. But it just was not meant to be. I think that the team has to try to get better for the SI. They are going to spend the next months practicing. Um, I talked to Nello before the competition started,
Mm-hmm.
and their objective was to qualify for two of the three majors this year, qualify for SI, and basically all the goals were completed, and that now they focus on winning them. Um, I think that this competition they were not one of the favorites, and winning was very, very difficult. I just think that they went there for the experience, try to win or get, as far as possible. But it was just, as I said, not meant to be. And I think that they are going to look much stronger next invitational with the experience that they have gathered in both Berlin and Sweden.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. It's just disappointment because Eminem have been one of the most consistent teams in the world. Top 5 in every single stage. So we expected more from them, but I think David, what this kind of is showing that there is a gap in like the top EUL teams, specifically the Frenchmen, BDS and Wolves, and then the other teams that we have had, because we're only seeing the Frenchmen
Yeah,
actually progress to the playoffs, as you can see on the screen. We had a disappointing showing as well from Heroic, where they should have been a lot better. I
I
think
don't
they
think it
did.
was disappointing, honestly.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
think it
the
was
thing is they had the
disappointing.
games for the taking. So I think let's jump pivot right into Group B with that. They had, I think, TSM on the ropes. I think they also had Liquid on the ropes. I think it's disappointing in big.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it's not disappointing like pre-event expectations. I think that's why you're coming. Yeah, which is exactly BC. So like BCR6 in chat is exactly the point I'm making. So the point that I think David you're making is that like you look at the pre-event, like we always say in like football, like like for example, look at the Chelsea Man United game earlier this season. Like before this game, we would have taken a draw, but after the game is over, you're like, oh no, we should have taken the win, and that's kind of what it felt like with M&M Gaming. Sorry, with Heroic here, in this situation, and M&M of course. So both of these teams, I think, had the similar situation. M&M, of course, had the biggest drop off, but Heroic, I think, did the same thing. Like they had such a promising start, and then they absolutely bulldozed Sandbox and Heroic on the second day. They just couldn't do it on that final day. And the first day, it didn't really work out. They were so close, man. Like before the event started, I genuinely think they would have taken this result, third place, 3 points behind. But it just feels a little bit bittersweet. Yes, they have two rookies,
Mm-hmm.
but one round, I think, or like
I mean,
2 rounds. Yeah.
TSM also had rookies. TSM also had rookies.
Right, but
So,
TSM are three
but
of them are world
yeah,
champions. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, true, right, of course, yeah. But yeah, I just think that Heroic the first day was a bit of an adaptation to the international scene with Jume and Melo.
Hmm.
And then they started going well. Maybe if instead of starting the group stage playing against TSM, they started playing against Sandbox, maybe they would have won another game against TSM, but we will never know that. I just
Yeah,
think
Dream had a
that
bad
Heroic
game.
left a good impression. Yeah, they left a good impression, I think. Um, I f- I am not disappointed at all with Heroic. I think that this roster has the potential to work together and achieve things in the future. The names may not be the most famous or the most experienced and everything, but I think that these players are very talented. These players are working well together. I think that Mr. Officer is someone who's very, very smart and has, that charm and that experience that, like, he's like a father to everyone there. I think that Heroic has a very solid team, looking ahead of not just Six Invitational, but the next season. And if we are talking about disappointments in this group stage, in this group, sorry, it
Mhm.
has to be Sandbox Gaming.
Yeah, yeah. I just like just to close out the heroic thing. I mean, obviously, Sandbox is. I don't even know where to begin for Sandbox, but like the June thing is absolutely correct. I think you're right. If heroic has started off against Sandbox, because you see how June's ratings went, right? Game one, 7-5 loss against TSM,
Uh-huh.
0.9 rating. Game two, 7-5 loss against Team Liquid, 1.08. So still not great, but still not what we expected from Drew. Then game three
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Sandbox, 2.29. Game 4, that 7-1 smashing of TSM, 1.62. The only reason he didn't finish top was because Uno got 3 plants and 1 clutch. Game
Yeah.
4, they lost to Liquid. They got smashed by Liquid. And the mistake that they made, Heroic, I think, in this one, was going to border. Bad idea, going to border against Palu. They choked away
Uh-huh.
many mankind advantages as well. Palu got like 3 clutches, I think. Yeah, he did. 3-1 VX's
Yeah.
Lagonis got 1. It wasn't the round. I think should have gone heroic's way. That was the inexperience showing, as you said. 2 rookies. Joom had a 0.69 rating in
They
that,
got
but then
they
he.
got they got
Sorry, yeah,
6 entries, in that. They
yeah.
got 6 entries in that game and still lost, like, only won 2 rounds. It's impressive.
They went
That's
6-3
disappointing.
on entry as a team. Um, so
Yeah.
it's really disappointing that they didn't manage to close it out. 4 rounds. Had it gone the other way, they would have been like, for example, 6-3 up on the lead, against Liquid, and that would be 1 point at the very least. 1 point taken away from Liquid, and obviously the complexion of the group then starts changing. But yeah, of course, Drew ended off with a 1.67 rating. So Sandbox obviously helped him become a flat track bully a little bit because Sandbox are terrible. But Troom definitely has the potential. I think he was, I think, one of the best players. He was the fourth best player in terms of the players that have been eliminated. So the 40 players that were eliminated, I think June was the fourth best out of all of them by CGG rating. Superb guy, and just hurt by obviously the opening TSM Liquid losses, and of course that's that third day Liquid loss. But yeah, June King stat pattern against Sandbox. Yeah, but like I don't know what the hell to think about Sandbox, Duffy, because Sandbox is
That's
showing
disappointing. Sandbox.
they just by a few minutes, by the way, or like a few hours, but they have become the first team ever to walk away from a six major group stage with 0 points. They
Sorry.
had one
Yeah.
full
Sorry.
stage.
I'm
No,
feeling.
it's okay. I
Yeah.
think the silence worked and
Yeah.
like the yawn worked because like they had a full stage to work
It's
with
very
Good
boring.
Boy, Arukaze, with Nova as coach, with Fancy coming in. They had one full stage. They had Berlin experience. What
They
was
play it.
this?
Yeah. They play it better in Berlin than not here. And we are not talking about incredible sites. Only Team Liquid. Yeah. But it was very, very, very disappointing. And we're talking of guys who have many experience. MB Taylor, for example, lots of experience under Mantis, under Cloud9, under, yeah, Sandbox. Um, like, okay, you have Good Boy and Arukaze who signed it like a few months ago, but anyways, like, you cannot be you cannot spend so many years as one of the best Korean teams and then drop a performance like this. Honestly, I really like I love these boys, okay? And Sandbox Gaming is a team that I really like and I love APAC, but I would be if I was a player and I had those numbers like zero victories, six regulation losses, the worst round difference, 0 points, I would be ashamed, honestly.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I would be
that's the
very,
thing
very,
as
very
well.
sad and angry.
Minus 25. They had a worse round
That's
differential
even worse than
than
Fury.
Fury, who were in the group of fucking death with W7M, who went flawless, with
Uh,
BDS, who upgraded with Liquefact and have Shaiko Bride, Space Station, who fixed their roles with Yeti. Like, that group was so much harder, and Sandbox did worse. Like, the only game that they kind of did well was the second day game against Liquid, where they were 5-0 up. But even that game, you can't say it's a good game because they choked it away. They lost 7-5. They lost 7 rounds in a row. They were 5-0 up. It's so frustrating. They couldn't even get 1 point. Not even a point after being 5-0 up. Besides that game, the closest they got was 7-4 against TSM, 7-4 against Heroic. They lost to Liquid 7-1 otherwise, and they lost to TSM 7-2, and they lost to Heroic 7-1 as well. 3 games. They won 4 rounds total. Horrible showing. I
yes,
don't even know.
horrible. But it was really bad.
I saw on Reddit
It was
like
really
a
bad. It
couple of
was like
comments. Sorry. Yeah, you're saying?
yeah, it was really bad. Like it was like having just an extra team, and they were like they lost to Liquid 7-1, they lost to TSM 7-4, they lost to Heroic against 7-1, Team Liquid against 7-5. After dropping an advantage of 5 rounds. Okay, it was in Oregon, defense, okay, but still. Lost to TSM 7-2, lost to Heroic 7-4. These are results that you expect from newcomer players
Like
in
Fury.
an international competition, and not people with plenty of experience in the game for years. So yeah, very very disappointing.
Shockingly disappointing, yeah. I don't even know what went wrong. As BCR6 said in chat, like, yeah, Sandbox, like, on Reddit, I was seeing some comments that, yes, if Sandbox had been in Group A, they would have qualified. It's a shame that we have the worst team from APAC North in Group A, because, Sandbox is going to find it tough to qualify with Team Liquid and TSM's group. They could do it in Group A. No, dude, they absolutely couldn't do it in Group A either. It's just shameful showing. I think they would have been worse than Cyclops at this point, which is saying a lot. Um, Now, I was told from yeah, exactly. Posista, I agree. Posisata, sorry. I was told by Nova that I don't know, there was some issue with the player registration, or rather the coach registration rules. So what happened was that Fangxi, who has been the coach for the team for a while now, I think, since the start of the APAC playoffs in Stage 1, or like after the APAC playoffs in Stage 1, he was supposed to be behind the players, but they messed up the registration rules, which I think is very likely, or Ubisoft kind of messed things up somewhere, either in Berlin or for this major. Funky wasn't allowed to stand behind the players. All right, so they found this out like one day before they're supposed to fly. So Nova, who wasn't supposed to be in Jonkoping, they got him a ticket, they sent him over, and maybe that kind of screwed things up. I was watching like Nova's like body language. Obviously, I'm no body language expert. They're actual experts for that. But you could see like the way he like fist bumped, or like the way the players reacted to his fist bumps or anything wasn't very exciting. Now,
Mm.
not to put anything on Nova, because in, as we said, 3 of these matches, these guys were getting smashed 7-1 or 7-2, right? Or they were choking a 5-0 lead. So I don't know like whether how happy you can really be, but like or whether it's a player issue, who players not really being the fist bumping type people, but maybe Fancy being behind them would have been slightly better. There was a mistake. I'm inclined to believe it was a sandbox mistake. Yeah, exactly. PC, obviously, this is definitely a thing, but I'm just saying, like, um, that it seems like they never recovered from this registration issue or something, right? Like they expected to have Fancy behind them or something, because I'm clutching at straws trying to explain the sandbox performance. I genuinely am. Now, yes, we wouldn't have expected them to perform well, as I said in the pre-event CGG live episode that we did. They lost to Reject on the opening day. It looked very sketchy from the get-go. They were pushed hard by Talon as well. So this was not like a good sandbox even heading into this event. But regardless, you have Good Boy Arukaze, these two players, Static, who has been clutching everything in APAC North, Envy Taylor, who has so much experience. All these players should have done a lot better. They didn't. And I think maybe it was like heroic situation. Like, yes, the whole travel situation in like Charlotte shouldn't have broken their spirits. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But it feels like the only reason that they would perform this badly is something stupid like that. I don't think this team on paper is that bad.
Yeah,
Though now, of course,
and
the
it's quite
paper,
stupid.
yeah, on paper they should be a lot better. But anyways, that's one APAC team disappointing. Now in Group C, also we had Fury being very disappointing in some regards. Now we all expected this result though. I think 0006 was 100% expected by 99.9% of people coming in for Fury because, as I said, this was the group of death. Although W7M very much made it look like not a group of death, but we'll talk about that in a second. Fury, W7M, BDS, Space Station, I don't think they were ever winning a point, though they did come fairly close on the final day by nearly recovering in Space Station. I think they were down like 6-2 at one point, and they brought it back to 6-5, and then 7-5, of course, they lost. But, oh goodness, it was a very impressive comeback from Fury. You could see PG Man, I think, he seemed very disappointed with himself, which is a very good sign to see, David. I believe that's a very good sign because, yes, Fury, they are, like Ola said, yeah, we're coming in to gain experience. This isn't going to be too much for us. But that disappointment, because BG Man, he's aiming for higher. He knows his team can go higher. I think that's very exciting, David.
Yeah, I was really. I think. Okay, Fury and Sandbox numbers are quite similar. But the situation is way different. Fury were the new kids or guys here in the competition. They were facing very tough positions and they did very well. Like I still remember the first game against OCNM, 7-3. But I think that the Brazilians expected an an easier game maybe. I'm not sure even if they had prepared that game. Um, and they had to focus and come back because Fury had a bright start. From then, we saw Fury fighting against BDS and SSG in all of their games, like except for that 7-1 loss against SSG. Um, Fury had some very good moments. And I think that's very promising, as you said, because they can aim higher. And after this performance, I'm completely sure that they can. Uh, they have gathered like this experience now. They have been through a very complicated group, and they can use all this knowledge and this experience in their regional six invitational qualifier. Uh, because I think that this team might have a chance, and it would be really cool to see Fury and Elevate in the same competition, international competition. It would be really nice. But anyways, yeah, I am quite convinced by their performance. I think that's what you should. Well, we had asked them, like having quite of a bright performance, and at the end of the third day, they killed SSG's chances of
Yeah.
qualifying for for the
It was one
playoffs
hell of
with
a
a
comeback.
7-5 loss.
It was really good. 6-2 to 6-5.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
started believing in them at like 6-3, I think. 6-4.
yeah, but yeah, we will have two French in the playoffs, which is, well, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not happy. I think let's move up from bottom for this group then. Moving on to Space
Yes,
Station.
to the bottom.
That was like a tough situation. Tough situation for them. They just had to lose one less round, I think, no, two less rounds. So had they beaten, I think 7-3, had they beaten Fury 7-3, SSG would be
Yeah.
fine. No, hang on.
Seven
Um,
four would they would
no,
draw
they
with
wouldn't.
BDS.
They needed to beat them 7-2, I think. At the very least, or 7-1,
Huh?
if I'm not
Huh?
wrong, because right, so it goes like round difference, right? So had it been like, let's assume it's like the same round difference as BDS, which is +2. So that makes this game, it should have been a minimum of 7-3 first. But then the head-to-head is 1-1, which is the next tiebreaker, and then the round percentage won is, I think, what, 31 plus.
But
Oh, it's bad. 31 plus
a seven
29
three a seven
over.
three would have been enough. A 7-3 would have been enough, right?
I am
Or not?
checking. Yeah,
Ah, wait, no.
I believe it should have been enough. So I'm just doing some quick math over here. I have a calculator. So they would have won 51.67% of their 61% of their 51.67% of their rounds, Space Station, if they had won 7-3, and then BDS would have won 35 over 68, which is 51.47. So yes, you're right. 7-3. 7-3 was the margin. They by 0.2%. 0.2% was the margin with which Space Station lost this game. You know, would have won had they closed out the game against Fury. They couldn't do it. They only have themselves to blame in that scenario. BC was right in the pre-major podcast, and I think we agreed with him, David, you and I. Fury were going to gatekeep someone. It had
Yeah.
to be Space Station. I think they looked good, Space Station, with their roles, but that first day, it was
Yeah.
just too much to recover from.
It just killed them. Yeah. It just killed them. Those two games against BDS were like the important ones, and after seeing one, it's difficult to recover from. Yeah, as you said.
Speaking of BDS, though, David, what is your read on them? Because they lost everything that they lost in regulation as well, but they won everything they won in regulation too. And obviously, two of those victories were against Fury. The
Yeah.
they weren't impressive. I think otherwise in their losses when they lost W7M and SSG, because 7-4 was their loss margin and 7-5 7-5 was the W7M one. I don't know. I think
I
with like
think,
Liquefact we expected more, right?
yeah, we expected way more. I still think that they can achieve the semifinals, but it's very complicated. Their performances against SSG and W7M were not convincing. W7M did, well, incredible major. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to think of them because at the end of the day, they just defeated Fury twice and SSG once. So they are quite behind. They are behind W7M. And SSG they struggled. So not a convincing group stage. And it's going to be up to the French clash that we will see tomorrow. But other than that, yeah, we expected a better Liquefact. Shaiko didn't have a great group stage either, I believe. Shaiko's rating is, let me check, I'm actually curious. Shaiko's rating is 0.98. Um, these are not the numbers that he
Yeah.
usually
You could
gets,
see it
so
on his face if you go to like our Twitter right now. You can see we posted the video when like BDS realized they weren't out. You could see Straiko thought
yeah.
she had choked this playoffs away. He really thought he did, and that was accurate. Had BDS fallen a foul, just by a couple of rounds with their round difference, they would have for sure, I think, looked at Shaiko's performance, and I think we could have pointed to that because Shaiko is supposed to perform better. We expect a lot better from him as one of the primary entries for BDS and primary roamers for them, primary frags, just everything. He has to be on top. We saw warning signs. I think we can interpret those as warning signs in the EUL now. We said, okay, well, Liquefact is stealing the kills away from him. Partially true, I don't doubt, but I think it's also a little bit of a warning that Shaiko himself wasn't quite up there. Joker Zera made a very important point, which is why I think there was BDS's performance was a little bit disappointing, was that on the final day, BDS went to their best map of Clubhouse, and apparently Joker Zera says that, I haven't verified this, but Joker Zera says BDS lost Clubhouse for the first time in 506 days. Right? On one hand, W7M are insane. On the other hand, BDS need to be doing better than that. They need to be trying to keep fate in their own hands.
Yeah. I am very, 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 very happy of W7M Esports performance.
Record breaking.
The record-breaking performance so far. 6 maps played, 6 maps won in the group net. This is just this is just seeing the Brasileirão being played in Sweden. They are dominant. They have no opposition. They look like they are going to win every single map. I am really convinced by this W7M roster. I think that they have learned a lot during this year. With Julio's signings, they are they are a strong team in best of threes as well. Casey is a very, very good fragger. He's having the tournament of his life. JB is an incredible player as well. The room has adapted so well to his functions. It's incredible. Julio's doing a very good competition as well. I think that everyone knows what is his role, and they just play. They are playing some really good, wonderful Siege, and I think they are my favorites to win the competition for sure.
I think, yeah, it's a good shout. And pre-event, I think a lot of people would have agreed with you. What I think we wouldn't have expected, even with all the things that you said, like even if you said like, yeah, KZ would be really good, JB and Volks would be performing as well, Julio would be on fire, being of course world champion in the past with NIP. But they went 6 out of 6 regulation wins in the group of death. They made this group of death look like a fucking joke. BDS and Space Station combined. No, sorry. BDS, Space Station, and Fury combined has the same points as W7M do.
And the same round difference.
The same round difference too. No, I think is that the round difference is way better.
Because no, SSG has 0 round difference.
Yeah, so
Fury has
minus
21.
23. Yeah, so it'll be minus 21. Yeah, so it's not the same. It's like the same number, but in negative.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. True, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Which is it's wild. It's alright. We're all tired, but W7M, oh my goodness, absolute disgusting performance. And I think seeing that performance, we talk about them being very good in best of ones, yada yada yada. But look, I think at this point, I don't think it really matters, man. These guys are in such good form. I think Bodega on Twitter, I saw him say that all of the W7M players look like they're in the flow state. And I think I agree with Bodega's assessment. All of these guys, they are playing exactly the way they need to play. They are peaking and backing off and exactly the moments they need to do. They're almost telepathic to danger, to their teammates being in danger. They are next level right now. And of course, it is going to be a massive, massive problem for anyone who is going to be trying to take them on, because I don't see how these guys can lose at this point, right? It's so scary. W7M making this group like a joke. I cannot wait for the rest of this. These are these 3 days that we're gonna have. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they made history. The best performing team in the group stage of a R6 major.
yeah,
On the other hand, a super performance as well, I think, and maybe slightly beating expectations. Based on the past international results, not based on the domestic results, but based on the past international results, Wolves Esports did really, really well by topping the group here in Group D. They won 5 games, 2 of them in overtime, and they finished 1 point ahead of FaZe Clan in second place, and it was really, really good. So in the past, right, we've had them qualify for 1 quarterfinal, right? That was in the Berlin major. Didn't make it in Charlotte. And then after that, the previous attempts also haven't really been that good. Yeah, like, so it's like Vitality obviously were, back when they were Vitality, were kind of kneecapped when they were playing as LFO. I think that was at SI 2022. No, at Charlotte. Sorry, yeah, at Charlotte, coming into it. Yeah, they were kneecapping the preparation because they were playing as LFO, and then SI 2022 they didn't make it. Sweden
well,
Major
yeah, right,
also,
yeah.
they were knocked out in the groups, but the progress has begun from the Sweden Major. And I think now we can start looking at them and saying, like, okay, yeah, these guys are like real serious contenders. And obviously, part of it is looking at the results, 2 playoffs in a row.
Yeah.
But that isn't really the whole thing, because we saw in the past majors of this year, G2 made it to the quarterfinals of 2 majors, Charlotte, Berlin. Where are they now? All right, so in EUL, the field is weaker. So EUL performances, being first in EUL, while impressive, isn't as impressive as like doing it in the NAL or BR6, for example, which is like what W7M have done. What is impressive? Sorry, I'm gonna let you have a word in, and I've been talking a lot. What is impressive for Wolves is the fact that everyone on the team are also looking like they're in their flow state right now. In my opinion, Shinka has been clutching everything. Bibu has been killing everything. Mowgli has also been picking up the pieces wherever Bibu and Shinka are not killing anyone. P4 and Rise are just providing clearly behind the scenes the support, the exact support that Wolves need. So this is looking like a team that is absolutely on perfect form.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Wolves, because I really like when a team proves me wrong, and I think that Wolves esports performance has been way better than what I expected it would be. I think that I thought that FaZe Clan would actually win both games, and Wolves would have to play against Wolves for the third spot, maybe against Mirage as well. And in some way, that was the initial impression after that maximum overtime win against Mirage on Clubhouse. But yeah, they have been playing very well individually, very well. Like Bibu is having not just stage but also season, because stage 2 he was also getting like very good numbers. Stage 3 he has been leading the team player, very very skilled. Shink as well. P4, like this team is very very talented. So yeah, I think that we could see them finally winning a playoff game. Let's see how this team works in best of threes, because we know their strength in best of ones, but when it's time to play 3 maps, um, they are not that good.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But you see, the thing is, at this point, we can start giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
simply because we had the same, like, wait and see approach coming into this major, and so far they have passed that first test of the group stage really well. And as BCR6 says, and we made the same mistake, David. This is the only group that we predicted wrong, and that's because we flipped the positions of Wolves and FaZe Clan. That was the only thing that we kind of got wrong, and Wolves have certainly been really good by showing, I think, at this point, like, top level of EUL is just as good, I think, as the top level of the NAL. I think just NAL has a bigger, like, top, it's like there's more depth. I think once you start looking at fifth downwards in the EUL starts looking weaker. But NAL, I think, is very good all the way until 9th. So, like, always, minus Mirage in stages 1 and 2, minus Beast Coast in stage 3. So EUL, obviously, I think, slightly weaker. But Wolves, even though they are playing in what seems to be an arguably weaker field, the changes and the preparation that they've done so far in the Jonkoping Major, chef's kiss. The way that they've played to their own strengths by unlocking Shinka and Bibu like this, and credit to both of those players as well for themselves not skipping a single beat transitioning over from EL over here. They only started off slow against Mirage, and they ended off a little bit sketchy against Direwolves. But then, the last game they had nothing to play for. The first game they might have had some jitters. Mirage might have surprised them a little bit with their play style. Whatever the case, I think, as you said, it's really good. Their FaZe win was awesome. FaZe themselves started off really sketchy. That loss against Wolves was not good, and then they got smashed by Direwolves of all teams. David, you obviously are the BR6 expert more than me here, but what do we think of FaZe right now? Like, after this group stage performance, what happened in the group stage for them?
We saw these kind of issues during the Copa Elite 6, and they disappointed in the group stage. I think that there's something that's not working out for them. I just think that they have what it takes to win these three teams, Wolves, Direwolves, and Mirage, in best of 3 games, especially Wolves. I think that if they had met in a best of 3 series, FaZe would have won. But anyways, it's very, very, very difficult to say. I just think that something's not working out, maybe behind the server. I really cannot explain it. But yeah, I think that FaZe Clan are gonna have some very serious problem in against Team Liquid later.
Yeah, we'll have to see. FaZe Clan have looked weaker than they have before, but after that second day loss to Direwolves, I was just thinking, like, are we gonna see like an Astralis situation with FaZe Clan? Like, it was that concerning for me because it looked like they were gonna do the same thing as
That was
Astralis.
not that the case.
What? Sorry?
That was not the case. At least not
Yeah,
to
no,
me.
I
It didn't
thought, but
look
like
like
after day
that.
2,
I
like
was
I thought
very
like
confident. Yeah, okay.
I thought like, oh, they're gonna lose to Wolves again on the third day. Mirage might
Yeah,
beat them as well. They were at 6 points
yeah,
stuck then, and I was like, damn, they're gonna miss out on the playoffs. They might finish last in the groups. Is this gonna be an Astralis situation? It didn't. I'm
yeah.
very thankful for that.
Yeah, it could have
But
happened. Could have happened.
but yeah, it's like a dip from what we saw from them in Berlin. It is not like a good sign. And of course, yes, they're going back to Sweden where they were
Yeah.
really successful the last time out. Last year, they won their first title, their only title, the Sweden Major.
Yeah.
But yeah, both Cyber and Souls, Beastie is saying, and that's correct. Both Cyber and Souls were not present in a lot of the situations. It kind of looked like the old phase for a second, where like Astro was the main guy carrying them, dragging them through, and everyone else is doing okay,
Yeah.
but it's not like what we have seen from them in the past, like in Berlin. And I think they might just be tired. I think at this point they might be tired, and they'll welcome the fact that they are qualified for SI, so they can take a little bit of a break.
That's
They can probably so they can probably take a break for like a couple of weeks before they start prepping for SI, because I think they can just take a break all the way until the end of the year. Like, the whole month of December, take it off. You have 1.5 months to prep for SI, more than enough, in my opinion, to take your time and just relax and recharge. Maybe that's the case. We'll see. But you're right. I think, then Direwolves. I think a good showing from them. I think they could have made it to the playoffs had they perhaps had good preparation. Reaps was missing for 2 weeks after the Apex South season ended. Then ED was missing for 2 weeks just before the major started, which is kind of like to screw things up for them. And then Odin had to leave after the Direwolves lost to Wolves on second day. Because Odin has exams, he had to fly back home, and Harambe was standing behind them for sure. But like, Odin's the guy who he is the head coach for a reason. I'm sure that had an effect. So lots of circumstances hitting Direwolves. The painful part of this, though, is that while they're qualified for SI, we might not see ED. Like, we'll see whether ED can be at a major, but we might not see ED at a practiced level again until his his national service, his military service ends. So I think they might be in with the same trouble for ED when it comes to SI, because I don't think he's going to get a chance to stay home and practice and scrim. So we're going to see like a unpracticed ED. We might see Harambe swapped in. Like, maybe it's time to cut your losses and like just practice for like these 3 months with Harambe instead of ED. But we'll see what happens. I think Direwolves, they gave us a good showing. It was not too bad from them at all. And Mirage as well. I think, of course, this was as we expected from Mirage. Last place in the group, everyone beat them once, but Mirage also got their nice little 7-5 victory over Direwolves to not go away empty-handed. I think this Mirage team can go far. It's looking exciting. This is a first level experience. I think that game against Wolves, they should have won that as well, the opening game. You could see the inexperience was showing when they were losing all those rounds. Wolves were bringing it back slowly and slowly. Yeah, it's really impressive.
We have seen it in NA. They are a shaky team when it comes to handling pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just the initial experience outside NA, and let's see what happens from here. They have to prepare for the regional SI qualifiers. And yeah, regional qualifiers are going to be very interesting with SSG there, with TSM. So yeah, definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, and also, just closing out that group stage, or this group stage discussion. Reaps is a walking highlight reel. Now, very quickly, I think David, we can do like a hot or not in terms of regions. I think LATAM, all 4 teams qualified. Really, Brazil, all 4 teams qualified for the playoffs. Super fucking hot, insane performance. They have the best team here in the group stage with W7M. They have Black Dragons, who are the newest team, like an inexperienced team here, who also made it to the playoffs. Liquid are also looking really good. They only lost 1 game. And then FaZe Clan, of course. Yes, they didn't look perfect, but they look better than Dials and Mirage in not the easiest of groups as well. It was not a bad group, so super good performance from LATAM. And then after that, the worst performance, of course, was like APAC. Super disappointing. APAC had a minus, I think, 60 round differential. Minus 48 of that round differential came from Sandbox and Fury. Fury, we can kind of close one eye, but also not really, because Mirage and Black Dragons, of course, these guys are also like inexperienced, right? So they still managed better performances than Fury did. Sandbox, as we said, super disappointing. Cyclops almost made it. Direwolves, not almost, but they had a decent showing, but extremely disappointing. They were so bad to the point, David, people on Reddit are unironically bringing out that stupid, in my opinion, very stupid talking point that APAC should have major spots taken away. That's stupid. I'm going to say it. That is the worst way to try and help a region. The problem with the problem with APAC is not that they are getting too many spots is that their domestic, like the APAC South and APAC North format is absolute hot trash without APAC lands. That is the reason. It's stupid. Like not having APAC lands is dumb. Not having online APAC playoffs is dumb as well. Just having 7 teams in APAC South is extremely dumb. Playing over ping with VPN is dumber. It's just so much dumb stuff going on in APAC. So it's not exactly APAC's fault. And also I think people are like hearing rumors of what's happening next year in the next format.
Yeah.
I think the next year's format will be better. APAC's, I don't think they're technically losing spots at the major, but people who are aggrieved by APAC having 4 spots at the major, I think they're going to feel good about what the next format is. I think that's all I'm comfortable saying at this point because I'm not 100% on my sources, but it should be good. And then it comes to NA and EU. I think NA and EU had balanced. They're like balanced group stages. 1 NA team, 1 EU team got eliminated in round difference, and then the other NA team and the other EU team were inexperienced. They were new to this ish, and they just couldn't quite perform. Though I think Eminem was slightly more disappointing than Mirage. That's it, right, David? What are your thoughts? Anything that you want to add? I think David has frozen. I think we've lost David. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna try. Let's see whether you can fix this. David, you there? Hello. So we're trying to fix this, but while that is fixed, we might as well. We as in you, viewers, and me, and everyone in the world as we hold our hands in a kumbaya. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm super tired. Let's look, then, at the group stage. The playoffs bracket. And extreme amounts of controversy when it comes to this playoffs bracket. Oh, okay, so I think you can all see what the problem is with this playoff bracket. All the Brazilian teams are on one side. The NA teams are facing each other in the quarterfinals as well. So are the 2 European teams. 5 out of 7. 5 out of 7 of these playoff matches are intra-regional matches. 5 out of 7 of them. 4 quarterfinals, 1 semifinal. It's just watching the domestic league, but in BO3 format. And for 3 of those matches, right? Because W7M, Liquid, Black Dragons, FaZe, they play each other in BO3 in the Copa Elite 6. Exactly, as BC said, NA and EU regional finals, what we are seeing, Copa Elite 6 semifinals. That's exactly what we've just got. It's just so disappointing. But
I'm back.
while the result... Oh, David's back. Let's go. We have David back. Yeah.
Have you seen the schedule? They released the schedule.
Oh no, I've not seen the schedule. But I was just ranting about this. About the playoffs. How the 507 games are intra-regional. Now, I will say though that even if you did A1 versus B2 and B1 versus like A1, B2 versus A1, B2, and then A2, B1, and then C1, D2, and D1, D1, C2, you would have had the exact same grouping. So it kind of got a little bit tough. And this playoff, I think the main, you can't blame Intero Pengu, whoever. There was a random draw, by the way. You can't blame Ubisoft. You can't blame Intero Pengu, whoever drew the thing. What you can say that is you can blame the group stage format, because the group stage format where you have only 1 team per region means you avoid the intra-regional games in the group stage, but you have a higher likelihood that you will see intra-regional games here in the playoffs, especially if you have one region not sending a single team, and you have one region sending all the freaking teams. Yeah, exactly, Assassin Kaya. That's exactly what I'm saying. You can blame LATAM for being too good. You're gonna have 4 teams from one region, 0 teams from another region. Sorry, you're gonna see intra-regional matchups. Yeah. And Kali is saying that you want a rule that the teams from the same region can't play against each other in the first round of the playoffs. I would argue it's more valuable to do it this way, where you want to avoid the same region facing each other in the grand final. Now, they didn't do that, by the way. This is not rigged. This is not like they made sure the Brazil's all on the one side of bracket. But like I was like, we were in like, behind the scenes when we were like watching the games. We were thinking like, if we had to rig the bracket for maximizing viewership for the grand final, I would do it pretty much exactly this way. I think we predicted the same bracket. We just thought it was going to be a TSM Wolves semifinal and a BDS Sonics semifinal, I believe. Aside from that, it was largely similar, because we wanted to put the Brazilian teams all on one side, because we wanted like more, we wanted to prevent a Brazil versus Brazil grand final, because God knows Brazil is that good that we are probably barreling towards Brazil versus Brazil grand final if we had Brazilian teams on both sides of the bracket. Yeah. That's kind of it. But quickly previewing these matchups though, Sonic's TSM. Sorry, yeah, you're saying, David?
The first one, the first game is going to be the Daus M against BD. That's the past 10 game.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it would be the European game, but nope.
Yeah. As I said, it would be smart to put the EU games first and the NA games like third or like fourth. Yeah, because like, I mean, Brazil is kind of in the similar time zone, but like I would stick the Brazilian games in slots 2 and 3. But whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Sonic CSM, David. What are your thoughts on this one? Let's start looking at these group stage games.
I think that Sonics are gonna win this game.
Interesting.
Basically, yeah. I just have the feeling that Sonics have something very, very good in their hands. It's gonna be a very, very tough game. I don't know the record between both teams. That's something that we should watch. We should look at before. But I think that Sonics have a very, very good team. I think they have been playing very well, even if they come from the Group A, which is like the weakest, and blah blah blah. They still managed to perform very well. TSM did as well against Team Liquid and Heroic, who are probably better than the teams in Group A. But still, I think that Sonics has some of the best players in NA as well as TSM actually. But experience, TSM wins as well. But I just think that Sonics are gonna win. Like I'm realizing that maybe a TSM should be the favorites, but I think that Sonics,
I was like, what is David thinking
sure.
here?
Yeah. I'm saying here, Sonics to win by 2-1. I think that's my prediction.
All right, I'm gonna flip that prediction. I think it's gonna be TSM 2-1. Obviously, you have this amazing Geo revenge tour. Yeah, Geo knows everything about TSM.
Yeah.
Yes, Assassin Kaya. But the thing is, TSM are better at best of 3. Sonics is the first time with this team. They've made 2 sizable changes. I know they have gotten the best transfer window of any team. They have done really well, but they finished top in a group that had SiegeGG. They were top in a group that had BD. They were top in a group that who's the last team? I can't remember. Eminem. Yes.
Eminem.
It was not a good group, man. Like Sonic should have finished that first one, and TSM beat Liquid. They are the only team to have beaten Liquid so far in Group B. And Heroic were no pushovers as well. Sandbox were made to look like chumps TSM historically has struggled against APAC teams as well. Yeah, and also like Badger TV. Yeah, I know you're being sarcastic here as I look very worryingly towards my window as the rain starts coming in. TSM have changed a lot. The TSM the Geo will know will be significantly different from the TSM that plays with Snake and Gasher. It's just gonna be. Palu said they played default against TSM. Yes, sure, but TSM still beat Liquid, right? Rogue won the freaking major in Berlin playing default. Assassin Kaya. So I'm just gonna say like defaults are not the worst thing in the world. Default to the right mentality win your majors. Exactly, Posizata. They're not playing like shit if they're playing default. They're still playing to win. TSM were better. That's it. It's TSM are also better in BO3s. They can build up momentum. So we'll see what happens. The French derby though. You are the EUL expert here, David. Tell me about the French derby.
I I really think that this is the moment for Wolves to prove themselves in an international environment. I think that BDS are not in the best shape possible. And I think that Wolves come from a very strong group stage where they have shown very good siege and that they can actually defeat teams like FaZe Clan, who, well, they were top 2 in Berlin. They won last year in Sweden as well. So yeah, I think that this is their chance to say, hey, we can also perform in international competitions. Give us our credit. So I think that Wolves can very well do it here. As we said before, Shinka is in a very good moment. Bibu as well. You also have Mowgli. Obviously, BDS has Likefak, who has been playing very well this stage, but I really think that Wolves is going to win the game 2-1.
I think I have to agree with you. I'm looking at just the players that the Wolves have right now and the form that these guys are in. And yeah, Puella, absolutely. And Positata, both of these points are absolutely right. BDS have a bad map pool, and BDS look so shaky. And we can look back even at the EUL. They struggle to beat. We said this in the pre-event SiegeGG Live episode 2. They struggle to beat outsiders and TT9 in the EUL. You can't be doing that if you are a team that has designs on the title at a major. You have to be smashing these teams. You have to be better than that. Liquefact has upgraded the team, but Shaiko has gone quiet. BDS are looking shaky. BDS don't have good as a map pool as Wolves do. Wolves are in form. All of these are pointing to Wolves just being so far and away better that actually we might even see a 2-0. I think BDS will still manage to get a map off because Shaiko historically has always switched on against Wolves. But I think it's entirely possible, depending on how the map ban phase goes. If Wolves play the cards right, they can win this 2-0. And yeah, Positata, yes. Wolves are playing better as a team. Anything to add, David? Or like I think it's pretty much that. That's really it, right? Yeah. Now,
that's it.
Now, of course, I think what we also want to
Copa
be
Elite 6. I mean,
yes, the Copa Elite 6.
Major.
Now, we have
Jönköping
heard
Major.
criticism. We have heard criticism of W7M, or like just like a fact, that yes, W7M, sorry, are a BO1 team. They're less of a BO3 team. But let me just point out something to you that all year, I think Hyder pointed out some very interesting statistics to me, Hyder being our writer, in terms of the map pool. So this stage, in stage 3, W7M have played 8 maps total. Theme Park has been their permanent ban. They banned it 19 times. Also, of the 8 maps that they have played, they haven't lost on 6 of those maps. 6 out of 8 maps that W7M has played in stage 3, they are undefeated on. You guys I think W7M have a BO3 map pool. David, what are you thinking of this?
I think that this is going to be the um fastest series, the quickest series in the of
Yeah,
the four. I think that
BD are gonna get
W7M is
smashed.
going to, yeah. Well, we will see because W7M usually has improved in best of three games, but they usually struggle in at least one of the games and even lose it. So it wouldn't be weird to see a 2-1 even here. Anyways, I think they're gonna win. Um, Even if they lose a map, maybe they just win the others by like very one-sided victories. Anything but W7M Esports victory would be a very very big surprise.
I think BD's only chance here, I think, is trying to well, it's gonna be ban pick ban, right? So they're gonna ban theme park W7M, and BD's only chance is to pick one of the two maps that W7M has lost in this stage. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see. Final Copa Elite Six, sorry, Jonkoping Major quarterfinal. The El Clasico, sorry, El Clasico, the El Clasico tautology. El Clasico, Liquid versus FaZe Clan. We already saw this in the final game of BR6. We saw this in Copa Elite 6. What do you think is going to happen third time around in stage 3? Or is it fourth time?
I think that fourth time because they played
Yeah,
twice
in Copa Elite
in
6,
Copa
right?
Elite
Yeah, okay.
6.
There we go, yeah.
Honestly, I think that Liquid is gonna win this one.
I
Uh,
agree.
and we will see what happens. Yeah, we will see. But I really don't think that FaZe are in the best moment now. They are a very competitive team. Their previous three losses against Team Liquid, maybe they have learned something from them. It's an experience that other teams like Europe and NA cannot say that they have because they don't have a system like the Copa League 6. Maybe they've learned something and they are going to upset Team Liquid. But I really, if I had to put in percentages now, I would give us Liquid a 70, 65% and FaZe Clan just a 30 or 35.
Mm.
It would be a surprise, but at the end of the day, it's FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan are very good at best of three games. They are good at handling pressure. They are a very, very experienced team. They
And
have
they have
the,
Lagonis.
they are very skilled. Yeah, Liquid has Lagonis though. Yeah,
Nesk has
so we
also
will see.
switched on. Nesk is
But I
back.
think that Liquid is gonna win. Yeah,
Nesk is
nice.
back.
Ness is back.
That's terrifying. Palu is kicking ass. Ask is kicking ass. Nesk is back. Lagonis is Lagonis, and then resets quietly, stepping up when needed. Yeah, but I think that's what's happening. Okay, so that's the quarterfinals predictions, and let's get all our predictions in to close this CGG live episode out. So you think Sonics beat TSM? I think TSM beat Sonics. I think you and I both think Wolves beat DBDS, W7M beat Black Dragons, Liquid beat FaZe Clan. So that sets up the semifinals off. For your case, Sonics versus Wolves and W7M Liquid. Tell me who's winning these semifinals and then who's winning the grand final.
Uh, no doubts here. I think that this like WSRM or Liquid are gonna win the major, no doubts. And I said this on my Twitter account.
Yeah,
I
but which
think that
one?
the Brazilian team. Yes, okay, fine. I think that. Oh shit, it is very complicated. I think that Liquid may win it and then win. This is very difficult. Very very difficult. I'm going for it. Liquid is gonna win. Liquid's gonna win against LCNM in one of the best series we can remember. And Liquid are gonna destroy whoever plays the grand
Who's that?
final
Who's gonna
by
beat that other
3-0.
team? Who's gonna be the other team in
Who's
the grand
that?
final?
Sonics. Sonics.
Stonix! Oh
Sonics.
shit. Alright.
Yes.
Okay, here's where we diverge because
High hopes. High hopes. High hopes.
yeah, big surprise because what I'm thinking is I think Wolves take whoever comes out from that bracket and I think it's gonna be TSM. I think Wolves beat TSM. In my honest opinion, Wolves beat TSM because Wolves have a more experienced team right now. Snake and Gash are inexperienced enough that Wolves will be able to punish them. Bibu in form enough, Shinka in form enough, Mowgli in form enough. Wolves make it to the grand final. They will face, in my opinion, W7M. I think W7M are going to be the ones in the grand final against Wolves. And here's where W7M, despite the inexperience, I think W7M are just a better team. I think it's going to be one barn burner of a grand final, and I think W7M take it.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
the Wolves TSM game, I think, will be crazy, and so will the W7M Liquid one. It's going to be superb. Anything else to add, David, or should we close things out?
Not really. Not really.
Oh yeah, we are both very tired. I'm sure you guys are less tired, but I'm sure you guys are less tired too. It's been a long 3 days, 12-hour days. It's been an off time zone thing for me as well, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. essentially. And tomorrow will be the last time we're gonna have a 12-hour day. And after that, we'll be down to 2 games on Saturday and 1 best-of-5 game on Sunday. No advantage given, no upper bracket or no kind of man pick advantage given to the grand finalists. It's going to be a straight BO5. I don't think there's infinite overtime, however. So that is a little bit disappointing, but I can't wait. I believe W7M are winning. David thinks it's going to be Liquid. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, Koala, we have all 4 quarterfinals tomorrow, the best of 3. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to SiegeGG Live, and maybe we'll do another show after the conclusion of the 6th major. But that's all from us tonight. Thank you. Goodbye.